I would like to call to order the November 9th, 2021 meeting of the City of Charleston Committee on Ways and Means. Before we begin, and before I ask Councilmember Saccharin to give us an invocation or a moment of silence, please, everybody know that in order to speak, you have to hold your button down the entire time you're speaking. Okay, so do that. Once everyone's in place, I'm going to ask Councilmember Saccharin to lead us an invocation or moment of silence.
Thank you, Chair. We'll just do a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First item of order is approval of minutes from October 12th and October 26th, 2021.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any additions, deletions, corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next, bids and purchases.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Number 4,
Move
planning,
for approval.
planning, preservation and sustainability, business and neighborhood services, approval of a resolution for the King Street Business Improvement District, King Street bid, and the King Street bid improvement plan. We got a motion and a second.
So
Mr.
moved.
Mr. Summerfield, anything you want to add to the motion in the second?
Just a reminder that this is just to set the public hearing. We will have a formal presentation on the bid proposal and the improvement plan at that December 7th public hearing. Thank you, sir.
Next on the discussion, any member of council or the committee? Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Chairman and fellow council members, and maybe we reserve this for the public hearing, but I wanted to recognize that we have members of our business community here and our Convention Visitors Bureau who've been working diligently to get the support of their fellow property owners and business owners in the district to make this possible. It's when I met a few folks outside, I was saying that 25 years ago, we worked on bringing a business improvement district to our central business district. And they reminded me it was actually in the downtown plan from the 1970s. So this is a concept that has been a goal of the city for way too long, and I'm so glad to see it come to fruition. And I don't know, Mr. Chairman, if you'd be willing to recognize any of our business owners that are here today, but
So, Mr. Mayor, I told them I'd vote for this if they didn't make any public comment.
okay. Well, then we'll wait for the public hearing.
So I'm just kidding. I see Mr. Warner, Mr. Price, and Ms. Hill are here. Would any of you like to address this committee? We're going to come back for a public hearing, just recognizing that. Thank you for making the long trek out here, by the way. It is a long trek. So let's see what council has to say. Councilmember Shade.
Just as a matter of reference, I did receive a email, I think most of us did, and I've talked with members of the proposed committee dealing with a property on Buffane Street that sort of borders or touches on King, but that property is not, those properties are not being included into this district. And I think they clarify that for us. I just want to make sure that our record is clear that those residential units are not part of this district.
Yeah, and for anybody who's watching along, attached to the bid is every TMS parcel and number. So if you have any questions about whether you're included or not, before we come to public hearing, just check your TMS number against the proposed district. Any other discussion? Councilmember Griffin.
I just want to thank the members of the business community that are here. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. King Street is, I think, the most important and valuable street in all of South Carolina. And if you look up and down at the properties that are on King Street and the businesses, small businesses that are there, it is the crown jewel of Charleston. It's the crown jewel of South Carolina, and we need to do everything we can to make sure that our business community is extremely successful right here in Charleston.
Thank you. Any other member of the committee? Councilmember Appel.
Thank you. Very brief. King Street has a special place in my heart, my family's heart, with Morris Sokol Furniture for all these years. And the Appels actually had a little furniture store across from the Sokols, but the Sokols kind of dominated them out of the business. It's always interesting when we all get together. But this is wonderful. It's a public-private partnership. And as Councilman Griffin said, I can't agree more. This is the most important street, not just in the city, but in the state. It truly is an economic engine. We don't have a Boeing. We don't have a Volvo. We don't have a BMW. but we've got one of the premier commercial districts. Really, I'm going to go ahead and say the East Coast, and we need to nurture it. It's not a law of nature or a foregone conclusion that it's going to be successful. We have to invest in it. And for this to be a private-public partnership that arises from the ground level, it's not something we're imposing on anybody. It's just a wonderful thing, and look forward to being a part of this process moving forward. Thanks.
Any other member of the committee? Okay, nothing else. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. This will be set for a public hearing. Jennifer? Mr. Summerfield?
Julia or Wilbur, Robert.
The 7th, December 7th.
December 7th.
Okay,
Okay,
great. First
thank you.
meeting in December. We'll see you all back here then. Same deal applies, by the way. Thank you very much.
You can ignore
All right, next on the agenda is Police Department approval to accept an award for
Move
the
for
fiscal year
approval of
20
5 and
Coverdale
6.
grant.
them. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. 6, Police Department accept approval to
Second.
accept an award
Second.
for fiscal year 22 in the JAG formula grant. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion to take 7 and 8 together. Is there a
Second.
second? All in favor to take 7 and 8 together?
Aye.
All right, 7 and 8, both Fire Department approval to enter in an MOU with the U.S. Coast Guard and a approval to accept the 2021 State Homeland Security Grants. Any discussion? Was there a motion? We had a motion to take them together. Now do we have a
So
motion? Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. You have 3 arms to do this one, Mr. Mayor. Good luck tonight. Pens, you got to hold this down. It's a coordination test. You guys have put us back to it. Thank you. Number 8, Parks Department, approval to submit the Palmetto Pride's 2022 Keep South Carolina Beautiful Grant application in the amount
I
of
move for approval.
$10,000.
Move for approval.
And there's a second on any discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Number 10, also Parks Capital Projects, approval
for
of Stony
approval.
Field Improvements, MEP and Underground Change Order Number 1. It's a fairly sizable one of 11,000 and change for the installation of battery packs. Do we have a motion? Did I hear one? Is there a second? All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Number 11, Parks Capital Projects, approval of a JPR, Joseph P. Riley Ballpark Electrical Renovation Change Order Number 1 with Gatch Electrical in the amount of $42,000 for replacing and supporting the main electrical feeds
I'll move for approval.
from the transformer of the main electrical panel. Just council members and members of the committee note the changes in the amount of contract and the time for it. I have a motion. Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next, Parks
Move
Capital
for approval.
Project. Approval of the International African American Museum
I'll
Construction
second.
Management Fee Amendment Number 3 to the construction management contract. There's a motion and there's a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. I think, Jennifer, we're up to number 13. Am I right about that?
Move
Number
for
13,
approval.
Parks Capital
Second.
Projects. Again, the International African American Museum Contract Fee Amendment Number 14. There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Chairman, and I bet everybody saw this, but just point out, both of these items, 12 and 13, are being paid for by the IM.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Number
Move for
14,
approval.
Stormwater Management, approval to submit FEMA brick grant application for the design and construction of a pump station at the intersection of King and Yuji. I think it's important we note that those projects are going forward. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Y'all are a quiet bunch tonight. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Number 15, Budget, Finance, and Revenue Collections, approval of a resolution providing that not less than 25% of the local option sales tax revenue allocated to the Municipal Reserve Fund be used each year by the city to roll back property taxes, and not more than 75% of the local option sales tax revenue allocated to the Municipal Revenue Fund be used each year by the city to offset operating expenses of the city, each as shall be set forth in the annual budget ordinance to be adopted by city council.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we defer this item.
There's a motion to defer. Is there a second?
Second.
Huh,
Mr.
there's a
Chairman.
second. All right. Yes, sir.
I think this is a rather large item and it should be discussed at our next budget workshop. I know we have one coming up. So I would ask that we defer this item to that budget workshop.
There's a motion that you've made and there's been a second, Mr. Mayor.
So the reason why it's on tonight's agenda is that we have to, in order to have this tool in our toolbox for this year's budget, we have to have a third reading before we pass the budget. And so, and by the way, despite the way it's worded, and I certainly would look for clarification from our council on this, it doesn't mandate that we use the LOST. It just makes it available to us as a tool in the toolbox. So it would be on our choice when we pass the budget whether to use this or not. But if we don't pass the ordinance before we pass the budget, then it's not available to us.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilmember Jackson.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, Councilmember Griffin. I do agree that this should be an extended topic as the council members would prefer at our full council budget workshop on the 16th. But I am persuaded by the mayor's, truth telling that if we want to use this or have this available to us, then we do need to at least pass this resolution now. So I'm voting in favor.
The motion on the floor is to defer. Any other discussion? On the motion to defer, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay.
Nay.
I guess we need a roll call on this one.
Councilmember Shealy,
Aye.
Councilmember Saccharin,
Aye.
Councilmember Mitchell, Councilmember Brady, Councilmember Gregory, Councilmember Waring. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Defer it to the workshop.
Councilmember Seekings,
Nay.
Councilmember Shade, Councilmember Griffin,
Aye.
Councilmember Appel,
Nay.
Councilmember Jackson,
Nay.
Mayor Tecklenburg.
Nay.
The motion fails.
Okay, so back on the floor is the resolution itself. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
I heard two motions to approve in a second. All right, any discussion? Mayor Tecklenburg.
So, Mr. Chairman, and fellow council members, and I know we have discussed this matter at some length last year, and I think it was 3 years ago. I don't want to beat this horse to death. I do believe that we should have in our toolbox the availability of any legally authorized way for us to be able to pay for our city services. And this is one. It's authorized by state law. Many of our neighboring municipalities use this tool to help fund their services. A good example is our neighbor to the north, the city of North Charleston. They have a total LOST revenue of something like 13.5 million, and they return 7.5 million or so to their citizens as a credit on their tax bill. So they're able to keep about $6 million to help fund their city operations. And the town of Mount Pleasant also does this. Many other towns and counties in South Carolina use this tool. We all know we have budget challenges. We had them last year. We have them again this year. And whenever we get together at the ad hoc budget committee meeting and as council, we unfortunately have to talk about any means possible of raising revenues to pay for all the things that we want to do, not only that we want to do, that we need to do to provide public safety protection, to pick up the garbage and everything else that we have to do. So this, we bemoan the fact normally that we're so subject to the state legislature to even have ways to raise funds. This is a way that's already authorized. So I'll be honest with you, I didn't really plan on bringing this back to y'all this year until about 2 weeks ago. And I got my tax bill. It's right here in front of me for this year for my residents. And the bill is $1,600.20 for this year. There was no change in millage. There was no change in the appraisal. And last year, same millage, same appraisal, my bill was $1,658. So my bill this year is $58 less. And don't get me wrong, thing to reduce taxes and it's part of what the LOST credit does for taxpayers. But we've got to pay for these important services. And I respectfully think, given what I see on my tax bill, that this is a less painful way of doing it. Again, I just ask y'all tonight to pass this resolution. We can decide when we debate the budget whether we're going to use it or not. But wouldn't it be wise to at least have the ability to have the tool in the toolbox? Thank you, sir.
Any other member of the committee? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay.
Nay.
Roll call or no?
Councilmember Shealy,
Nay.
Councilmember Saccharin,
Yes.
Councilmember Brady,
Aye.
Councilmember Waring,
Nay.
Councilmember Seekings.
Nay.
Councilmember Shade, Councilmember Griffin,
Nay.
Councilmember Appel,
Yes.
Councilmember Jackson,
Yes.
Mayor Tecklenburg.
Yes.
Vote is 5-5. The motion for the resolution fails. Okay, next on our agenda is the Committee on Real Estate. Councilmember Shade.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Real Estate Committee met yesterday afternoon. Item A was withdrawn. We were able to accomplish the execution of this agreement without the necessary to have this on our agenda. Item B and C are very similar. These were requests to subordinate our liens to allow for refinancing for 37.5 Hanover, 81 Columbus Street, and properties at 2 and 4 Father Grants Court for restructuring of loans and the use of those loans to help improve those properties. The committee took up both of those requests and unanimously recommended approval. And I would so move that we approve B and C.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive the report from Chairman Shade. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item E consisted of 4 properties for annexation, 62 acres plus or minus on Clements Ferry Road, 1820 Alice Drive, and properties on Lamar Extension Road. Those properties were recommended for annexation. And I guess we'll let Senator Sandy Sims property come into the city of Charleston. So I recommend, Mr. Chairman, that those 4 properties be allowed to be annexed into the city of Charleston.
Is that a motion? A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Is there any other business to become before the Committee on Ways and Means? If not, I'll entertain a
Move to
motion to
adjourn.
adjourn. All right, all in favor? We